Well, the event is almost coming to an end, and we will now have the Q&A session, the last session of today's event. Many of the questions have already been answered in the Q&A box, I believe, and due to time limitations, we could not answer all the questions, but we will try to focus on the questions that most of you have asked. Well, our first question for today is for Professor Takahashi, and the question is, what are the advantages for students to study in Hokkaido University?
Thank you for the question. Well, you can work with various professors working on cutting-edge topics, and also interesting professors in various areas of studies. By the way, the university is committed to diversity and inclusion, so I think you'll be able to feel the warm atmosphere on campus. Well, I'm sure you'll be able to enjoy exciting academic life here at Hokkaido University.
Thank you very much, Professor Takahashi. The next question is for Professor Ito, and the question is, what led you to chemistry rather than the other field of study?
Okay, thank you very much for questions. So the reason why I choose the chemistry field when I start my research work, so at first I wanted to change the maybe people's opinion in some research field. So chemistry is just not so very big science. So reaction and maybe measurements can be done just by one person. So this means that some only very small ideas can change some reaction and can change the chemistry, can change the world. So now I'm doing some mechanochemistry ideas. I try to change the world by some small idea. That's the reason why I choose chemistry field. Thank you very much.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you very much, Professor Ito. The third question now is for Jose. And the question is, what made you select Hokkaido University to study?
Well, before coming to Japan, I've always been very interested in Japanese culture and history. So I read The Tale of Genji before coming and applying to Hokudai. But when I was starting to look for universities in Japan that I could apply to, I started looking at ones that aligned with my opinions and aligned with things I wanted to pursue. So the MJSP, or Modern Japanese Studies program, effectively it attended to all the opportunities that I wanted to pursue. And then as an extension, Hokudai has this beautiful campus, as you could see, and it's such a comprehensive place for academics and for people who are interested in Japan, who can pursue and go even further, so they can go and contribute to the rest of the international society. And that's why I chose Hokudai.
Thank you very much, Jose. Fourth question is for Irhaza, another international student here. And what do you think is the most difficult thing about living in Hokkaido?
For me personally, since I am a Muslim, there are very limited options for me to eat outside, since I can only eat meat that is halal. So there are very limited options for me to find a restaurant that caters to all of my needs. So that part has been a little difficult for me.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. You have another question here for Jose. And what is it like in the dormitory? What's dormitory life like?
Yeah, thank you for your question. So I'm no longer in the dormitories, but when I was in the dormitories, I really enjoyed that the placement. It's actually in a really nice, quiet part of Sapporo in Chuoku, where there's right next to Mount Oiwa, as International House Fushimi, the dormitory I stayed in. So there's a lot of greenery next to the dormitories and beautiful views. And even though it's in a quiet place of Sapporo, all the benefits of living in a city are still there. although now much more quiet and much more closer to the greenery part of Sapporo.
Thank you very much. Well, we haven't been able to answer all your questions, but as we are running out of time, I would like to close this session with one final question. And this one is for Professor Ito. The question is, what were the most interesting moments in your researcher life?
Okay, thank you for questions. I'm a researcher, and I also a kind of professor or teacher. So I work with some students to do the research, and I think some idea is very important for chemical research. Sometimes my students have a very interesting some idea first, so I he or she try to do such interest idea into the practice. So finally, many times it's not so very easy, but sometimes he or she got a very good some results from their own idea. That's a very good moment for me, for the researchers, as a researchers and teachers. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.